Good evening, good day, good morning, and hello to wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Black Belt Academy of Surgical Skills. My name is David O'Regan. I'm a cardiac surgeon in Yorkshire in the United Kingdom, and I'm the director of the Faculty of Surgical Trainers of the Royal College of Surgeons of Edinburgh. We're going to continue this week following on from knot tying. And I hope you've had time to contemplate the difference in how to tie your shoelaces. And I must say, when I saw the TED talk that I was tying my shoelaces wrong, it took me 3 to 4 weeks to learn it the proper way. So don't expect some of these things to come immediately. They do take practice. In essence, this shoe here is tied correctly because it's a flat, uncrossed knot. This shoe here is a cross knot, and I'll show you the difference and why this is important for surgical knot tying. I only have one camera, so you're going to lose me from view as I stand up to show. So let me bring into you what I demonstrated last week. This is a reef knot. It is flat. It sits flat on the table. And if I put my fingers in this hole, I pull it and it's tightening by itself. This is otherwise called a flat knot or uncrossed knot or reef knot. This, you can see, is not sitting flat on the table. That's called a cross knot, or I call it a granny knot. And see what happens when I put my fingers in here and I pull it apart, it comes undone. And that explains why your shoelaces come undone if you don't tie flat knots. And the same applies in surgery. Now, Charles, who was watching, raised an important point last week, and I'll try and demonstrate it to you. He says he's been tying regular knots, but on some occasions throws a knot, and then the next knot leaves a space above it, like that. And that only happens because we haven't put a finger on the knot. And this is particularly true of monofilaments. And your finger always has to go in the knot to make sure it beds down. Monofilaments, in particular, are sometimes difficult to tie, and to ensure that it's secure, it's probably best sometimes to throw 2 throws, 2 half hitches, and parachute it down, much like the knots that are set up for laparoscopic surgery. So let me show you this on my rig here. So I'll bring this back into view. So what we're talking about, and I'm using bootlace again, and to understand the difference between crossed and uncrossed knots, it's best to use a piece of string and watch them down. To answer Charles' point about monofilaments, one throw one direction, the same throw the same direction, and you push it down, and you see there I've got 2 half hitches that actually parachute down and brings it together and is tight. And now I can come back the other way and secure it with flat knots. Let me show you that to you again. And it's very useful for tying at depth with monofilaments. And these are the knots that are pre-made in laparoscopic surgery because they can be pushed down with a pusher. But your pusher in this instance is your finger. So let me show you that again. One throw the same way, second throw the same way, and you push it down, and you see there I've got 2 half hitches, and that naturally tightens itself. And that's very useful for monofilaments. So there's another important knot to use to help secure, particularly when tying to something rigid. And this is called a surgeon's knot or an Edinburgh knot. In this case, we're putting 2 throws round the loop, like that, and putting it down. Okay, that actually will hold in place, and now I can bring back with a whole series of flat knots, as you can see there. The only time I use this Edinburgh knot or surgeon's knot is for chest drains, and I'll just demonstrate it again so it's quite clear. Let me undo this piece of string. Alright, one throw through the loop, 2 throws and down. You can see I've got 2 throws on it and pull it down, and now I can lock it with a whole series of flat uncrossed or reef knots, as you see there. And this is particularly useful for tying solid objects. So let me, by way of example, bring in my coat hanger here, which is a solid piece of plastic. And I want to tie the string to a piece of plastic and make it secure. 1, 2 throws the same direction. Pull it down tight, and I can pull across there tight, and now I can lock it. 1, 2. And all being well, I will be able to take a pair of forceps, and can I move this along the coat hanger? And the answer is not. It is particularly useful, that knot, when tying in drains, because the last thing you want to lose in surgery is drains. So you'll laugh, I raided the end of the hose pipe today to get a piece of drain material to demonstrate to you what I'm talking about. So to tie in the drains, and remember, best surgical material to use is a bit of dental floss. So I've tied one here earlier, but again, I'll demonstrate to you now. Same principle. 1, 2 throws, pull it down, fingers on the knot. I can bed it down and stay there. And now I can put in my other throws. And all being well, that is actually going to hold on plastic. And you can see there, even the dental floss is biting in to the hose. This is one I've done earlier, and it's not pulling out. I can put a lot of tug on that, and my drain is not going to come out. So that's a very important knot for tying in drains, because in surgery you need drains to remove fluid and exudate from any tissue spaces, because that causes wound infection. So to add to today's list, just wanted to add one other bit to the surgery, and for your benefit I'm going to have to destroy my model here to demonstrate how ligatures, etc. in surgery are used and tied. So when securing vessels, it's important to make sure there's no tissue around the vessel. You put a hemostat on both sides of the vessel like this, and make sure that the hemostat is across the vessel, as you see there, before you divide. Now, when it comes to tying, the assistant needs to hold it up, lift the point away to enable the suture to get round, and release the hemostat. Now, sometimes the surgeon will say ease and squeeze. So in other words, you open it up slightly to allow the knot to bend down, and then you put the hemostat back on. Open it up slightly and close it to allow the knot to go on. For your non-dominant hand, putting the tips of your fingers through the ring are not possible. So you need to learn to actually hold it inverted way on the tips of your fingers, again, between my thumb, index finger, middle finger and ring finger. I'm opening it up and I'm closing it. Open it up and closing it. Note, when using hemostats, that you put the curve towards each other. So that would be one side, that would be another side. And I remember my days in general surgery when taking off the omentum of the bowel, a whole series of hemostats on the vessel like this, all the curve pointing to each other, lined up along the bow as you took off the mesenteric vessels. Lift it up, let the surgeon get the suture round, turn it away so they can see the knot going down, and then take it off. Right, so finger on the knot is very important to ensure that it beds down. And these exercises now are exactly that. What I have is a plastic cup on a bit of blue tack with a pencil through the top. And the blue tack's on the bottom goes, if I pull the suture, the cup will come off the plate. So I'm going to pass the suture around. And now, dental floss again. We're going to be tying to the pencil, and the important thing is my fingers on the knot, and I keep it on the knot for as long as I say finger on the knot, so it's not moving the cup and I'm not pulling it off. Coming back, there. Now, to ensure that's secure, I need to see that that thread is not moving on the pencil. Secure knot. Now that's at 1 phalanx deep. The next step is, can you do this at 2 phalanges deep? You can see now it's further in, and it becomes more of a challenge. This needs to be passed through, and unfortunately I don't have a Roberts to demonstrate how to pass the suture, and I'll get one for next time. So, same again, throw, make sure your finger goes down on the knot. And to make it secure, I've got 2 throws the same direction. There you go. And now I'm going to alternate either side. Flat, uncrossed, flat, uncrossed. And my hands are moving, as you can see, that way. So that is now a 2 phalanges deep. There you go. And it doesn't slip on the surface. Fantastic. Now we're progressing on our skills. Let's bring in the final challenge in the cup series, and you'll see now that it's at a good finger depth, probably a little too far, but it's a challenge all the same. Pass the suture underneath, and as I said, I'll get a Roberts suture for passing it. Okay, there you go. Pass it round. Right, at depth, and very important now to make sure your finger goes all the way down into the cup and pushes it down. All the way in, all the way to the bottom, and your finger goes all the way on the knot at the bottom. There you go. All the way down and push it on the knot. And that requires practice, but you can only do that once you've actually understood crossed and uncrossed knots. And again, shall we just see? There you go. It doesn't move along the pencil. So I'm happy about that knot as well. But our fun tying knots at the Black Belt Academy does not end there. Because what we usually do is blow up a surgical glove and tie off the fingers. And you need to tie off each finger with a bit of dental floss. Unfortunately, I don't have a surgical glove with me this evening, so I've just got some balloons. I've partially blown them up, and let's see how I've done in my knot tying. I should be able to cut the end of that off. There you go, without the balloon going down. 1. Keeping to colours, red, white. Here we go. There's the end of the balloon. Going to cut it off. 2. You want 5. Red, white and blue. There you go. gone. What about this one? Oh, well, there we go. I have not actually failed to tie a knot. That needed a bit of encouragement. And try another one here. This is a fun way of actually testing whether your knot tying skills are any good. There you go. End of balloon. Try and burst it. Try and squeeze the air through. Burst the balloon rather than the suture coming off. But I think my point has been made. The point being is that you don't need fancy material or skills labs to practice basic surgical skills at home. What we've done throughout the series is used simple things, even down to a bit of hose pipe for a drain, balloons, dental floss, string, paper cups, pencils, blue tack. You can do this at home yourself. If this has made sense to you, please leave comments on our Facebook page. Please visit our website www.bbass.org. There are further videos on there describing the syllabus. I'd also encourage you to get some instruments. Now, for those of you in the UK, you can contact my colleague Kevin at wetlab.co.uk and get your own set of instruments, which has scissors, blade, forceps, and hemostat in the pack. You wouldn't hesitate to buy a tennis racket, a book, so why hesitate to actually get some surgical instruments so you can use at home. Next week we are going to summarize the principles of deliberate practice. I hope to answer more of your questions. I hope, Child Lewis, we have answered your question this evening. And then we're going to go back through the cycle on Wednesday evenings, starting at the beginning and adding a new dimension to all the lessons. I hope you have found this informative. I will be sending out a survey with the next advert. This is an anonymous online survey asking for your feedback and asking for your opinions. If there's anything that you wish me to cover or to address, please do not hesitate to contact us. I hope you've enjoyed this evening's lesson, or morning or evening, wherever you are. I hope you're keeping well, and I hope you're safe. Thank you very much indeed for joining the Black Belt Academy of Surgical Skills. Thank you.